Good morning, Bling Bling. What are you doing?
Good morning, girlie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting here with Abby. What are you doing?
Well, I'm sorry I'm going to miss this one, but, you know, I've got no big family events.
It's too bad that Yolanda can't be here with us for this next investigation.
Hey, I miss you. We'll see you next case, baby.
Good luck, you guys.
All right, bye-bye.
See you, Yolanda.
But I've called in Abby Abadondolo to help us out.
Feel kind of funny sitting over here and looking next to me and seeing you and not Yolanda's long red hair, dude.
I do not have long red hair, no question about that.
We are in Okaloosa County, Florida, to investigate the missing person case of 37-year-old Marie Carlson, who was last seen on October 17th, 2011.
Marie, she's one of those people that life kind of kept kicking in the teeth.
Even though she had a lot of problems in her life, Marie was a mom, and moms don't usually leave their kids.
In some instances, you can make that hard argument. In this case, we're going to need to also consider Marie's very unique history.
Marie was a very loving mother, but sometimes she did behave unpredictably, possibly due to her diagnosis of bipolar disorder. She was trying to stabilize her life to be the best mom that she could before she disappeared.
All missing person cases are sad, you know, not just for the investigator, but for the family. And it does tug at your heart because you can bet every time they go to the grocery store and they see somebody that reminds them of that person, they're hoping they're going to run into them.
With a missing person case, you have the presumption that that person is still alive somewhere. It's not against the law to live under the radar. So if this is, in fact, a murder case, one of the first hurdles that we have to get past is that Marie is still alive. She just doesn't want to be found.
I'm glad you're here, man, because this case, it's going to be hard.
We could definitely use some luck, a little Jedi mind trick every now and then in there in the interview.
Well, let's hope that because 3.5+ years have passed, all the people...
Hey, how are you
good
guys
morning.
doing?
Kelly, nice to meet
Kelly?
you. Hi. Hey, Nestle, good to finally meet you.
Hi, I'm Keith. Nice
Read
to
all
meet you.
about you.
And this is our lieutenant.
Hey, Eric Aiden.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Every investigator has one case that sticks with them.
Y'all ready to go to work?
Yes, ma'am.
Show us our workroom.
This is one of the hardest cases because we don't have a body. We don't have a crime scene. This one has stuck with me over the years. Even after my retirement, I think it will still continue on with me.
Keith and Nestle, can y'all tell us a little bit about Marie?
She's half American, half Filipino.
She worked for the police department in Colorado.
Yes, sir. She was a booking deputy.
With a desire to become an FBI agent.
Right.
This is a smart lady.
Marie wanted to try things. She wanted to live life. She was friendly. She was dynamic. She was beautiful. Marie was the kind of lady that you want to be.
What I really want to go into is Marie being a mother. Marie is the mother of a little girl named Paris. She loved that little girl, but realized that she couldn't take care of Paris, so she gave up, which is the hardest thing for a mother to do. Gave up Paris to Jeff, her ex-husband.
The information we had received, she had some psychological issues.
She was at one point diagnosed as being bipolar.
That is
and
correct.
was on medication.
Yes.
Why don't you walk Abby and me through your investigation in the case?
The case was first called in by Jeff, her ex-husband, over a mass text that was sent out on Wednesday, the 19th of October. Her text said she had left the Fort Walton Beach area. She did not want to tell anybody what her plans were because they tried to stop her. He called down to our office and we took the report. There's not against the law to run away. But after a few days, I decided to go to where she was living at, and that was with my pastor by the name of James Flanders and his wife, Tonya Flanders, at their residence here at Fort Walton Beach. He says that they helped her out a couple of years, and they wanted another baby, which Tonya could not have.
Okay.
And that Marie was a surrogate for them.
Okay.
Yes. Then she gave birth to a little girl named Grace.
According to James and Tanya, they had a very close relationship with Marie. In fact, Marie was so grateful for their friendship and generosity, she agreed to be a surrogate for them and gave birth to baby Grace, who was only 3 months old at the time of Marie's disappearance. So what do they tell you about the day of Marie's disappearance?
James says that Tonya takes the baby, goes to Bell's Outlet. James says he takes off for a run. James and Tonya go back to their house, and they say that Marie's truck is gone. The 19th of October is the mass text.
Okay.
At that point, James and Tonya say that they go directly out to the airport to look for her vehicle. And he spots the truck, so he drives the truck back home. They also talk about she does go missing at times, and this is not unusual for her.
Huh.
Police searched flight records and they found no evidence that Marie flew anywhere around that time. So the question is, did Marie truly run away like her text message said, or was there foul play involved?
I think we ought to start with missing person question mark.
Correct.
And these are our arguments why Marie really just went missing.
Prior history.
Prior history.
Walking away, leaving for a couple days.
She was constantly moving.
Yeah, constantly.
What else about the just leaving?
Bipolar.
Marie had a journal where she had written this kind of crazy talk.
Just rambling on.
Well, it just confirmed she's bipolar.
Right.
Given to Paris.
That's the single biggest one.
Marie lived a life where she often wanted to just take off. And if she was capable of picking up and running off and leaving her first child with her ex, then there's a real possibility that she just took off again.
Oh, that's a pretty good list.
Okay, so now let's flip it around and come up with all of our arguments for murder.
Okay, we know we have 2 suspects.
Let's put up
The Right Reverend.
Pastor James.
Smooth talking.
He's charismatic, too.
Let me ask you a quick question. What are you doing right now?
James Flanders was a pastor at a non-denominational church in the Fort Walton Beach area. Very charismatic, a good speaker. He actually posted some things online, and he was able to develop a real following from that.
Last one alone with Marie.
Yes, that's huge.
He didn't report her missing.
Yeah.
They left in the middle of the night in a hurry.
Left in a hurry, that's a big one.
And it was directly after having contact with Keith.
After Marie's disappearance, rumors began to swirl, leaving James and Tanya in the middle of the investigation. The church asked James Flanders to resign his pastorship, and after police aggressively questioned Tanya, they quickly packed up and left for Arizona. But were they merely overwhelmed by all the scrutiny, or were they hiding something?
Okay, so let's put up
Tanya Flanders.
She's the rock.
Of the household
Yeah.
and the church.
What's the first thing y'all want to put?
Jealous.
Marie was beautiful.
Baby.
Tanya told several stories about Marie and a pregnancy. She told some that Marie was going to be a surrogate. Some she told that Marie had been with an abusive boyfriend and got pregnant that way. And then when questioned by the police, her story gets even more bizarre.
Tanya tells me that James is the father of the baby. They didn't have money, but they were going to do it the old-fashioned way.
They literally say the words old-fashioned way.
Yes.
He's a preacher.
Yeah, that's right. And Tanya tells me she was there when they had sexual intercourse one time.
She was in the room.
She was there when they were having sex.
Huh.
I was amazed by her telling me this, but in this field of work, you see a lot.
At some point, a baby is brought into this world named Grace. Was Marie supposed to be a surrogate? Did Marie get pregnant to give them a gift? Did James and Marie mess around behind Tanya's back and she gets pregnant?
Whatever the case was, it definitely was not traditional. And learning more about their relationship and this pregnancy could be the key to figuring out exactly what happened to Marie Carlson.
With most cases, at least you know what happened to your loved one. In this case, you don't know at all.
Anything.
It's the hardest part of a no-body case.
We're going to meet Marie's 2 sisters, Esta and Rose.
Hi.
And also the father of her baby, Paris,
Pleasure. I'm Jeff.
her ex-husband, Jeff.
We just really kind of want to know a little bit about Marie.
She was very loving and very warm,
And bright.
very pretty, and she was the kind of person that you couldn't help but like.
She was the life of the party.
People loved her.
Yeah, people loved her. The last time I saw her, she talked a lot about her girls. A lot. She loved her kids.
I look at my daughter and I see her, and she's a lot like her mom.
Yeah.
And I feel like my daughter's been robbed.
You're doing great. Just keep going.
It's hard. It's hard to let go. The hard part is not knowing exactly what happened. I'd like my daughter to know, and I have some answers.
She was like my sister, but she was also my best friend. I don't have my best friend back.
The challenge here for Nestle is it a missing person or is it a murder case? All you can do now is have faith and trust a little bit longer in Nestle and Keith, and what happens in the next couple of days, that we can at least resolve it and give you some answers.
We are never going to give up.
I know that.
Yeah, I already know that, so.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing all this.
This tells a true story for you on what happened in there.
You're watching Cold Justice.
The Calvary Emerald Coast Church was the center of Marie's social life before she went missing in 2011. It is also where she met our 2 suspects, Pastor James Flanders and his wife, Tanya.
How are you? This is Kelly.
Hi.
Kelly.
Nice to meet you. An elder at the church might be able to shed some light on the relationship between Marie and the Flanders.
So Maria was coming to the church, and somehow it came about she needed a place to live. And then she got pregnant. Then it came about she was going to give the baby to the Flanders. There was some sort of agreement that after a number of months, breastfeeding would be completed and Maria was going to leave and go live her life. And in my mind, it all lined up with the way things were supposed to work. You know, it just didn't seem odd to me that she was gone.
Well, thank you so much.
We appreciate it. You're welcome.
It's clear that if there were details that were being hidden, then we need to figure out what they were.
They hopefully will be here in just a few minutes.
Okay. On the church staff was a group of 3 women that were called the Inner Circle. They were close friends of Tanya's, and she confided in all of them. But their strong allegiance to James and Tanya may have held them back from being completely forthcoming.
If you look at us like a little cult, we were part of the little inner circle drinking the Kool-Aid.
I value Tanya more than anyone, but I'm not the one to say stuff, you know?
Just let it flow. Just talk. Just talk.
Even if they keep in contact with them and they know about the baby and all that, they don't have the reason to defend him anymore. We're hoping enough time has passed to where their relationship with James and Tanya has changed, and we can find out everything that they know.
When Marie moved into their house, they asked me and my husband to help them remove her furniture, and so we helped her. I remember that day, we were like, why is she moving in with you guys? Because I know I asked Tanya.
You asked Tanya straight out then?
I said, is there something going on between you 3? And that's when she said, yeah, they're in a relationship, the 3 of them, and keep us in confidence. And I said, if you guys are happy, that's your thing, but if that's what you believe, you need to tell your congregation.
Crazy.
So
it's a crazy situation.
This is far more complex than we first thought. If James, Tanya, and Marie were living in a polygamous relationship, that certainly would have been outside the teachings of their church, which could have been the reason why Tanya wanted to keep it a secret.
She tell you to keep it a secret?
Yeah, asked me to keep it from my husband as well. She manipulated me really well. The way she presented it to me is that she was afraid that Reed would want a second wife as well.
That's pretty smooth on her part.
What was your view of Tanya's feelings of Marie being pregnant?
Well, Tanya had always wanted another child, but they had had problems. So kind of what she presented was, you know, kind of make the best of it kind of thing.
But it was definitely unplanned.
The way it was presented to me, yes, it was unplanned.
By Tanya?
By Tanya.
This contradicts Tanya's initial story that the baby was conceived through a carefully managed sexual encounter between James and Marie, which Tanya claimed she supervised. If the baby was unplanned, then Tanya not only had a forbidden relationship she needed to cover up, now there's a baby involved, which is going to make it even more difficult to keep the situation under control.
The plan was always that they were going to raise the baby together.
And talk about relationship, living as one. I mean, a whole family.
Yes, living as a family. I know that the relationship was not in a good place.
How do you know that?
Just their whole demeanor. They weren't happy anymore.
What do you think was the big issue between them?
This is just speculation, of course, but you know, Tanya was a little bit older than Marie, and then Marie was in terrific shape.
Marie's prettier.
She was beautiful.
Younger.
You know, she's younger.
Did you ever hear Tanya say, Marie wants more?
No, I did not hear Tanya say that, but did I hear that from Marie? That Marie wanted James.
Marie wanted him to herself. These church ladies, who are Tanya's closest friends, say that Marie wanted James all to herself. And Tanya was trying to keep her husband happy while protecting their reputation and her own position of power within the church. Whoa, what's that?
Here are all the text messages from Marie Carlson's iPhone prior to her going missing. This is a new forensic tool that we recently acquired, and it was able to parse out all her messages and her call logs.
So we've never seen this before?
I don't believe so.
There's no telling what might be in here between Marie and James. These texts could be a huge piece of new evidence. Marie's private messages to James could really paint the picture of their relationship. I want to use my mouth to give a massage. Neck massages, back massages. It's massage night. I'll massage your butt.
Bet he's not talking that way to Tanya.
Seeing you at church and knowing I can't kiss your lips drives me insane. These text messages, which cover months, prove that James and Marie's relationship was a lot more graphic than the one-time encounter Tanya wants everybody to believe.
I think these would get Tanya worked up, don't you?
Squeeze your milky nipples.
My penis says hello. That's a good one.
Look at this one. A finger inside. Imagine my mouth on you. Wow, I think I'll stop there.
It's clear that Marie fell for James' charisma and status, and her infatuation was really growing. It makes you wonder if it wasn't Tanya who couldn't handle sharing his affections. It was Marie, and her way of avoiding a broken heart was to escape. Before the disappearance of Marie Carlson on October the 17th, 2011, she was involved in a secret relationship that seemed to be really having issues, especially after Marie gave birth to baby Grace.
Hello? Hi, Nina?
Yeah?
Nina Atkinson is Marie's mother. She lives in Sweden, but she talked to Marie very often. We need to find out if Marie said anything to her mom about her relationship with the Flanders and their plans for the baby.
What did you think about her giving the baby to the Flanders?
The problem, they are fighting each other since they delivered the baby.
They've been fighting with each other since the baby was delivered?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fighting.
About what? Do you know?
The husband and wife, they don't want Mary to stay there in the house.
She told you that they had been fighting over the baby because Marie wanted to raise the baby and they didn't want her involved. Okay.
That's good.
All right, Nina, as soon as we find more information, we will call you.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Did you hear what she said?
That they were fighting over the baby.
That's a pretty good motive right there.
And what's the number one thing Tanya Flanders hates to lose?
Control.
Control. And she was losing it.
Alice K. Barber was Marie's very close friend and almost like a second mother to her.
I really appreciate you coming over.
Marie lived with Alice before she moved in with the Flanders, and they remained close up until her disappearance.
What was her interaction with Grace?
She loved that child, and it was your typical mother and newborn baby.
Okay, let's fast forward to you get the group text.
The group text?
This is...
Yesterday I left Fort Long Beach to do something I always wanted to do. I didn't tell anyone because I knew you would try to talk me out of it. I love and appreciate you all. What is this?
It's pretty close.
3.5 years later, when you talk to Alice K. Barber about this text message, she knows it by heart because she's probably gone over that text message 1,000,000 times. When you hear her talk about it like that, it just breaks your heart.
I started texting back, and nothing was coming back. And then finally, I said, "What about Grace? Where's Grace?" And the text said, "She's fine. She's with Tanya and James. She's in good hands." And when the Tanya came before the James, I knew that wasn't her. She never, ever, ever, not one time did she say Tanya and James. Ever. It was always James and Tanya. Tanya's name never, ever came first.
You instantly know that it's not Marie because the text says Tanya and James, and she would have written it James and Tanya.
Right.
Alice knew Marie more than anyone, so the fact that she picked up on something odd with the wording of a text is significant because it makes you wonder if Marie didn't send out that group text after all.
When she came to the house in September, I felt like she wanted to come back home.
When you say come back home, you mean to move in with you?
And I didn't offer. And I couldn't. I think...
Was that the last time you saw her?
You can't blame yourself, Alice.
No, you really can't.
You can't.
According to James and Tanya, after they received the mass text, they went looking for Marie. They found her truck at the airport. James supplied the police with a receipt that showed that the truck had been parked there one day after Marie disappeared. What's really strange is on the night of Marie's disappearance, a police officer finds her truck at a gas station, abandoned and unsecured.
Hey, white mug, the pickup truck for 748, 3 Golf Frank.
28 returns to Mary Carlson.
So this is where it's found unsecured by the Fort Walton officer.
That's correct.
He knows that this isn't a good part of town.
I mean, this place has got "steal me" written all over it.
At the time, Marie hadn't been reported missing, so the police really didn't think much of it. But now, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would Marie's truck be abandoned at a closed gas station and then 7 hours later end up at the airport with no record that she ever got on a plane? It clearly doesn't add up, and I think we're missing something here.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good, you?
Good.
Now that we understand the movements of Marie's truck after her disappearance, we need to learn more about the movements of Marie and our two suspects, James and Tonya Flanders. You fired up?
Ready to go.
Brian Roberts is a member of our team, and he, along with our new cell phone expert, analyzed the cell phone records that the Sheriff's Department so thoroughly collected, and it's time to see what they found.
This first map right here, you can see is for James Flanders' telephone. It's for October 17, 2011. This is the Chevron gas station where the car was left abandoned. There are text messages from James's phone at 7:38 p.m. and 7:41 p.m. pinging off of the towers by the Chevron gas station.
According to James, the last time that he saw Marie was around 6:30 that afternoon at their house. Now we can see that hours later, James' phone was near the gas station where Marie's truck was found abandoned that night.
At 7:52, Tonya said that she received a call from James.
So Tonya is over in Destin, correct. And the phone call, she talked to James all the way back to Fort Walton Beach.
Correct.
If James killed Marie and left her truck at the gas station at that time, we know that Tonya wasn't with them because her phone was all the way across town, and she never received a call from James until after we believe the crime happened. So the question remains, how did Marie's truck end up at the airport?
This is the parking receipt for Marie's truck at the Northwest Florida Regional Airport. We have Marie's truck going in at 10:19 a.m. on October 18th. I mean, Marie's phone is not pinging off of the towers by the airport. However, we see text messages from James's phone, 10:20, 10:26, 10:27. The times for all of those match perfectly.
Right there at the airport.
Right there at the airport.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. James's phone was by the airport at the very moment Marie's truck ends up there. And his phone was by the gas station when we think Marie's truck was abandoned there. It's possible that if James killed Marie, he somehow disposed of her body and abandoned her truck unsecured at the gas station in the hopes that it would get stolen. When it wasn't, he went to Plan B, where he drove it to the airport and abandoned it to try and make it look like Marie took off on a flight out of town.
Now, one last thing. This is Wednesday, October 19, 2011. Marie has supposedly left Fort Walton Beach. What's significant here is at 4:38 p.m., 10 folks got that mass text message from Marie saying that she's leaving the Fort Walton Beach area. Her phone is right over here by their house. And James is at home when he gets it.
Wow.
Their phones are together.
Their phones are together. Marie's phone never leaves Fort Walton Beach.
That's freaking great. That's great. When that mass text from Marie's phone was sent telling her friend she had left town, her phone never left the area. On top of that, Marie's phone and James's phone were both right by the house. It is apparent that Marie never sent that mass text. It is clearer than ever that Marie did not simply run away. We've addressed it all, we acknowledge it all, but in the whole scheme of everything, she is not just missing, it's a murder case.
Correct.
Okay. We still have Tonya Flanders up here on the board. Nestle, what do you think about what do we do with Tonya Flanders?
I don't think we can charge her. I think we prove it in the cell phone records. When we believe Marie's car is put into the gas station, Tonya's cell phones aren't anywhere near the gas station.
I don't think that there is enough evidence to charge Tonya Flanders.
What she's guilty of is trying to preserve her world.
Yes.
All right, so we're taking Tonya Flanders off the suspect board.
Yep, take her off.
Which leaves James.
Pastor James.
Pastor James. Now that we're focused on James Flanders in the murder of Marie Carlson, we need to talk to his inner circle at the church.
This is Addie.
Starting with a good friend of James who he had lunch with 2 weeks after the murder.
So he called up and said, hey man, can you get together? And I said, let's meet for lunch. And when he got there, he was really distraught. And he was whispering and he kept going, I can't believe it happened. I can't believe it happened. And I said, what? He just said, it's just too bad. I can't say it.
That's a new one.
And he had asked if I could get him out of the country. And I said, no.
But he never alluded to why he needed to be taken out of the country.
No, it just over and over, as bad as bad.
James Flanders, out of his very mouth, says, I need to get out of the country. Can you help me get out of the country? Why would he say that?
How are you, Dave? Pretty good, man. Good. Good seeing you.
Jason Anderson is the current pastor at the Calvary Emerald Coast Church. After years of acting as the youth pastor under his mentor, James Flanders, he took over when James resigned. When all this is going on at the church, did y'all call him up and say, we need to talk?
I called James and said, there's some things that have been brought to my attention. I'm concerned for you and concerned for the future of the church. So we need to meet ASAP. Then that's when he told me about the physical altercation they had. I guess it was probably the day she went missing.
Can you tell us about that?
He just said that they were at home and she came in the room and she was acting crazy. He said that she got physical with him, like pushing, hitting, scratching, and that he had scratches on his chest and arms, I think.
Being the last person to see that woman alive, James Flanders said that he struggled with her. In fact, struggled so much that she scratched him on the arms and the chest. Classic signs of defense wounds.
Did they say what the fight was about?
I don't know if this is when he said it or how I learned about it, but I remember something that she was threatening to take the baby away.
You don't remember who you heard it from, though?
I don't.
You had to confront your pastor of so many years, and now he's committed the sin.
I've seen everything.
James Flanders is very, very charismatic, and he was like the God in that church. And it really kind of makes you sick because all these people believed in him, and he manipulated all of them because he's very, very selfish, and he wanted to have two women in his life. He devastated a whole church full of people. So this is a Sunday church sermon?
This is actually September of 2011.
So about a month before the murder.
Correct. The church themselves put several of his sermons online.
Okay.
When Jesus tells us to love our enemies and bless those who persecute us, he's not saying, when that person is really out to get you, they're backstabbing you, they're gossiping about you, you need to just really feel all about them. Now, whenever someone is backstabbing me, lying about me, gossiping about me, trying to tear me down or whatever, you know what I want to do? My feelings say, choke the life out of them.
Jeez. And he laughs after it. That's...
Yes. If the Bible talks about the fruit of the Spirit is love. One aspect is self-control. Right? If we didn't have those thoughts of wanting to choke the life out of someone, we would not need self-control. Right?
Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, that is pretty good.
1 month before the murder.
Yeah. He's talking about himself. Those cactuses are just so cool, man. I've never seen them like that.
Well, so they obviously don't grow in Texas.
They don't. It's time to talk to our suspect, James Flanders, and his wife, Tonya. They currently live in Arizona, so Nestle, Lieutenant Eric Aiden, and I are taking the trip.
I'm glad that Abby's on the same page as me and that the phone call is the better option.
Our strategy is to talk to James and Tonya separately. So instead of showing up at their house unexpectedly, we're going to call and find out their locations.
Hello?
Hi, is this Tonya?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Tonya. It's Nestle Moore with Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. I just wanted to let you know that I am still working the case involving Marie. And we have some questions that I think that you could really help me with, you and James. Do you think I could talk to James?
Well, not right now. No, he's not here. His father is in ICU dying right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
I know you're not, but that's okay. There's no way that he's going to be able to talk to you right now.
Apparently, James is at the hospital with his father, who's dying. That's going to be a huge hurdle. Right now, we've got Tonya on the phone. She's alone, and this is a good chance for us to interview her.
We've got some new information, and I really wanted to talk to you and James in person about it.
What new information is it that you have that you can't seem to make sense of?
Why would James want to get out of the country?
Just, you know, she just was saying things and being weird.
But why would...
For James, it was just a matter of, I gotta go because I am so stressed out I'm gonna bust.
Enough to want to leave the country?
Yeah.
Without you? And
Yeah.
Grace?
Yeah. I could see myself doing that.
You all had a meeting with the church, and James discloses that there's a physical altercation between Marie and himself. Why wouldn't he tell us about all of that? No, ma'am, we only talked to him one time when Investigator Motz came to your house. That's the only time.
And told him everything that needed to be said.
You don't think a physical altercation between Marie and James is important?
Now, see, well, because those are the very things that you guys will turn into exactly what you turn it into.
It's not turning anything into anything, Tonya. It's what happened, and we have questions for you all that we can't have answered unless we talk to you.
Well, you just got a whole bunch of answers, didn't you?
Tonya is the protector of James. Her job in James's life is damage control. She's making sure that she plugs all of the holes in his dam.
Well, I thank you for your time. And I didn't mean to upset you, Tonya. I'm sorry.
Well, you knew that was going to happen whenever you called.
Well,
it's fine. You can do your pleasantries the way that you need to do them. I know that you have to. And I'm not going to say that it's okay.
All right, Tonya. Bye.
She controls everything.
She does.
Here's Nestle.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you in there?
Well, we got a
Pretty good lengthy phone call with Tonya.
Great.
Where is James now?
He says he's at the hospital with his father.
His father is dying.
And Nestle, you're worried about looking like a cold-hearted bitch calling him standing by his dying father's bedside.
Yes, ma'am. And I am not a cold-hearted person, so...
Well, I am. So I'm trying to figure how we can win from this situation.
Right.
What's your lieutenant say?
My thing is I'm juggling the weight of we would get beat up by a defense attorney about reaching out to him. However, I also don't want the state attorney to ask the question, well, you went all the way out there and didn't reach out to him. Why not?
Y'all decide what you want to do and just call us back and let us know your plan.
Yeah, we will.
Bye. I understand why she's worried, but you're never going to get a better time than now with him. And if a defense lawyer picks on you for it, you say, we've been trying to get him to cooperate for 3.5 years.
The time is crucial now. I mean, what if he said, I'd really like to meet with you guys?
All right.
We're doing it. This is it.
Been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Hi, this message is for James Flanders. This is Nestle Moore with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office.
I know it was hard for Nestle to call James while he's in the hospital with his dying dad.
He's not gonna call back.
But you got to give her a lot of credit. She realized that it was a tough call to make, and she made it.
Well,
I think that sends a very clear message to them that the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department hadn't forgotten about Marie and that they will continue with this investigation until this case is resolved.
Okay, now that we've gotten everything put together, we now have at least 4 huge points.
Abby and Nestle weren't able to speak with James, but that's okay. With everything that we've learned, we have a great circumstantial case against James Flanders for the murder of Marie Carlson. We know from a new witness that Marie told that witness, I want James all to myself.
Marie wanted James.
Seeing you at church and knowing I can't kiss your lips drives me insane.
We find out that they were fighting over Marie wanting to raise the baby as well.
The husband and wife, they don't want Kelly to stay there in the house.
He tells a witness, we had a fight the last time I saw her.
He said that she got physical with him, like pushing, hitting, scratching, and that he had scratches on his chest.
And you add in those beautiful cell phone charts. We learned from cell phone records that Marie's phone and James's phone were both by their house when she allegedly sent the group text. But more importantly, James's phone was by the airport at the very moment when Marie's truck was left there.
Marie's phone never leaves Fort Walton Beach.
What do you think about taking this case to your state's attorneys?
I think we have a very strong case.
I think that this case deserves to be presented to them.
Well, y'all go present it to them, and Abby and I will wait and hear what you have to say.
Ready, Keith?
I'm ready.
Good luck. So who's going to be there? Jeff, Rose, and Esther again?
I believe so. And I can't wait to talk to them about what we've done this week.
We learned a lot this week that will strengthen this case. But learning for sure that Marie is no longer alive is the harsh reality that comes when you deal with a missing persons case.
Hello again, my dear.
And that's really hard to tell a family that the miracle they're looking for, that their loved one is going to come home, is not going to happen.
So we met with the state attorney's office today and presented the case back to them with the new information we gained. They've agreed to reevaluate the case and can't promise anything, but this is a step forward. I'm hopeful, so you should be hopeful. Okay?
Okay. What developed this week is good. Every witness has been talked to. New witnesses have turned up. All the questions have been asked. The sad reality, though, is that we have to tell you Maria's never coming home.
Today, I wanted a miracle answer, but
we're never going to stop, Vesta. You know that. We want to give Marie justice, and we want it for her, but we want it most for y'all.
I do believe my sister, Marie, is going to get justice. We're going to get it. I don't know when, but I know it's coming.
All right, you got to stop crying. Come here.
I just...